Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. This will be my review of the Chaos Space Marines Vex Machinator Archlord Discordant. From the Codex, they've added the Vex Machinator, but all intents and purposes he's an Archlord Discordant. He will set you back £40, which is a bit of a whopper. Quite expensive. Just to put it in perspective, he is an HQ choice and he's actually the most expensive HQ choice in the Chaos Space Marine Codex. He's not the most expensive HQ for Chaos. I mean, you've got Magnus and then you've got Mortarion. I mean, Mortarion's like £80 or so, isn't he? But he is more expensive than Abaddon, which is another HQ choice. So most expensive HQ choice in the army for Chaos Space Marines. Price wise, I'd probably say he's just about worth it, but he is smaller than I thought he'd be. If you've seen the artwork on the Vigilus Ablaze book, you'll see one of these kind of mounting a Land Raider. This is the artwork I'm talking about. There is an Archlord Discordant, and the front legs are pretty much taller than the Land Raider side itself. It looks huge compared to the Land Raider. Something that this wouldn't look like. I'm gonna put a Land Raider in the view in a moment, but definitely not as big as the artwork depicts. But then again, that happens a lot in Warhammer 40,000 in this universe. Artwork don't really get the measurements right, in particular, you know, like Space Marine armor and bolt guns and things like that. Anyway, I could go on about the artwork for quite a while. Is he worth 40 quid? Yeah. He's a very solid HQ choice in terms of rules, and he's a really good looking model. A bit fiddly to put together, but if you think about it, you're essentially paying £20 for him, you know. I mean, he is a full model at the end of the day, with this big chain glaive thing, and you're paying £20 for the Hellstalker. The Hellstalker is obviously far bigger than him, got more detail, so in a way you're sort of paying £25 for the Hellstalker and £15 for him, which is about right. So as always, my format for these videos is I will take a closer look at the model, look at all the detail and things, compare him to other miniatures in the range, and then have a section at the end where I'll go through all of his rules. You probably noticed right there that I've gone for the Bale Flamer instead of the autocannon. There were just more positive reasons to take the Bale Flamer, even though I don't game that much, and I'll go through them later on. Firstly, the model itself then. He was a bit tricky to put together. I'll give him that. You really need to, well, if you plan on painting him, unlike me, it's definitely best to make this model in sub-assemblies. What that means is basically you make parts of the model, then you paint them, and then eventually you just glue them together at the end. I do that with my Titans because there's just so much detail, but other models like the Thunderhawk and this model, for instance, I like to build it and then paint it afterwards, or try to. Yes, it's going to be quite difficult to get under all of there, especially because he's glued on the base. I mean, if you were to detach him off the base, then that would make it an awful lot easier, but also the nooks and crannies behind there to get the lighting and shadow and things are going to be quite difficult. So if you are planning on painting him, definitely go for sub-assemblies, because that will make your job a lot easier. My channel, I buy these models, products to review, so I just don't have the time to do the sub-assemblies, to paint them for the reviews. I release a video every single day, and it's enough of a job just to keep building all of these for the review, let alone making the videos and keeping up with the maintenance of the channel. So the model itself, quite tricky to put together, is the summary of this, but you will have a lot of fun in places. The legs, obviously, like any model with these kind of legs, they're a bit tricky with the mold lines and the way you put them, but once you glue them to the body, that's fine. Very early on, like one of the first steps, you have to pick the Technovirus injector, or the Magma cutter, Magma Cutter is just the same as what's on a Mauler Fiend, I think, actually. But the Magma Cutter is one piece with the injector, so you can't really, I mean, cut it off and magnetize it. It's not two pieces. That would have been cool to give you the option. Luckily, the injector is where it's at. Likewise, the Bale Flamer, very difficult to magnetize. You'd have to magnetize the shoulder, magnetize this cabling and the tendril, and maybe magnetize the mounting as well, but that's going to be quite tricky to magnetize. Most Games Workshop are definitely pushing out models, designing models that are, you know, like this. One pose, you know, monopose miniatures, don't have a lot of variety at all, don't have a lot of customization options. I mean, the Terminators are one of the recent examples I can think of too, and some of the Death Guard models. But you'll really have fun watching him grow, you know, watching him take shape as you build the Hellstalker first, and then you build the Archlord. Really cool looking model. You can only just imagine if they went down the sort of Dark Mechanicum route and started making models for them. That would be pretty awesome. Where are they at? Where is the Dark Mechanicum? You know, in Chaos. Maybe they have their own book later on. Maybe they have their own range. Maybe I'm foreshadowing a little bit, but yeah. But the bottom line is, the model looks fantastic. I thought that the Bale Flamer wouldn't look that good, but actually in person it does look pretty decent. And the autocannon is massive. It's probably too long, in my opinion, you know, seeing it in person. I love this huge chain glaive melee weapon he's got. He's just riding this mechanical beast. Really, really cool looking. The spare parts, obviously you've got the different shoulder pauldron, the Sons of Horus shoulder pauldron, or Black Legion's shoulder pauldron should I say. So you can have that on his left arm or not, it's really up to you. And also the autocannon as well. The coolest bit about the autocannon, I do like the muzzle, but because that's more reminiscent of like stubbers or heavy stubbers, and they could have put this as a heavy stubber, that would have been silly. And I do like the ammunition feed as well. So yeah, as you can see, looks really cool, whichever weapon you go for. But like I say, more reasons to take the Bale Flamer. So first and foremost, I just want to show you that size comparison with the Land Raider. Now, as you can see, he is a little bit dwarfed by the Land Raider. Even if you put him on top of there, wouldn't really be the same kind of outline. It would look like the Hellstalker is kind of struggling to mount this thing, but still I suppose it is possible. But look at the size and bulk of the Land Raider, the power of the Land Raider, the majesty. Anyway, it could just reverse or full steam ahead. I mean, if the Hellstalker is this close to your Land Raider, you've done something wrong. Especially one of these Land Raiders with like 8 las cannons on it. Ridiculous. Anyway, I just wanted to make that size comparison first of all, that it is not, you know, a bigger, it's not like, I mean, they could have doubled the size of this. It might have looked a bit odd, but still it would have been kind of in the same range size of the Mauler Fiends and Helldrakes and things like that. I do think he is a bit smaller than I expected, definitely. On the box he looks massive too. Anyway, that's the size comparison I want to make with a Land Raider. With other Chaos models, new Chaos models as well, here's the Venom Crawler. Venom Crawler looks pretty big compared to the Hellstalker, you know. Similar sort of height wise. They go really well, they work really well. I like the legs, the aesthetics, the mechatendrils, the, you know, faces even. You know, that works really well, especially if you had 2 of these, preferably not with the same scenery parts and in the same exact pose, but still, like with the Bloat Drone, I'm sure Games Workshop have something in the pipeline in terms of making one of these a multi-part kit maybe, who knows, but that would be great if they did that. Anyway, works really well with the aesthetic of the Venom Crawler. With an Obliterator, that's the size you get. It does look pretty big compared to one of these, you know, Centurion wannabes. Next to the Master of Possession, you can just see how tall that Master of Possession is compared to the Hellstalker. And then we've got a Greater Possessed, we've got Havoc with a Reaper Chain Cannon, we've got just a normal Chaos Space Marine. That's probably a good one. That's how big he will be compared to your standard Chaos Space Marines. And then you've got Abaddon, the Despoiler. So Abaddon still has a lot of presence, even against one of these creatures. But Abaddon, £37.50, and the Lord Discordant, yours for £2.50 more. So there you go. If you could only get one model, that's quite a good little comparison. Abaddon is dripping with detail though, but both very, very decent HQ choices. Pretty cool. Currently working on the Terminators, his like little bodyguard. So I think I've got one close by. Yeah, look at this, straight hot off the press. So I've got one of the Terminators there, ready to sort of protect him or whatever, provide some support. And then I just wanted to show you some size comparisons with a couple of Death Guard models, because I do have a large Death Guard army now and it's growing. Here's a, whoa, painted, finished Plague Marine. Wow, oh my lord. So that's what he looks like compared to them. And then it's not finished though, a Myphitic Blight Hauler, because I think people wanted to see the the difference between the Blight Hauler and one of these Hellstalkers. So I hope that helps as well. Finally, the last couple of comparisons I want to make is just with the standard models. I always do a normal Space Marine, which is, you know, a little bit above the head height of the Hellstalker, and then a Primaris. You can see there that the Primaris, you know, you have about 5 of these around them and they're going to swamp him a bit. Have 10 of them and they're going to really swamp him, you know, with the Hellblasters or whatever you want to fire at him. He's going to do pretty well in combat though against them. So I hope those size comparisons have helped. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of his rules. You'll find them in your brand new 8th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex. He is an HQ choice, like I've mentioned. He's a power points cost of a 9. He's a match play points cost of 150. His Mecha Tendrils are free, bolt pistol free, grenades are free. His Chain Glaive is free. The autocannon you're going to have to pay for, which is 10 points, that's 160 points. Or if you choose the Bale Flamer, then it's 30 points. So it's 20 points more than the autocannon. So this unit is going to cost you 180 points if you equip it with what I've equipped him there, which is quite pricey for an HQ choice. That means he's 60 points less than Abaddon. So put it in that perspective as well. Anyway, let's see what you get for these points. So he's one of these units whereby his movement speed and his additional attacks are affected by his remaining wounds. So if he's got between 7 and 12 wounds, his movement speed is 12 inches and he gets 5 additional attacks. If it's between 4 and 6, his movement speed is 9 inches and he gets 4 additional attacks. And then if his remaining wounds are between 1 and 3, his movement is 6 inches and he gets 3 additional attacks. His weapon skill and ballistic skill are both 2+, that's fantastic. His strength is 4, toughness 6, 12 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9 and a save of 2+. Very, very strong stat line. Would have been nice if he got 5 attacks maybe and his strength was a bit better, but we'll go on to that in a moment. So the Lord Discordant obviously combines the Lord Discordant with the Hellstalker. It's a single model armed with an autocannon, bolt pistol, Impaler Chain Glaive, Mecha Tendrils, frag grenades, crack grenades, and the Hellstalker is armed with bladed limbs and tail and a Technovirus injector. So 2 profiles here for the 2 units within one. The Lord Discordant counts as having that autocannon, which is same autocannon as everyone else. It's a 48-inch range, heavy 2, strength 7, AP -1 and a damage of 2. If it was a Reaper autocannon, like a double-barreled one, that would be a no-brainer. I'd go for that. You know, 4 shots pumping out. You know, the Bale Flamer is a shorter range. It's 18 inches, assault D6, so you could get up to 6 shots. Its strength is 6, its arm penetration is -2, and its damage is also 2. But the weapon automatically hits its target, so unfortunately not needing to rely on his ballistic skill of 2+. His bolt pistol, normal bolt pistol, 12-inch pistol, 1 weapon, strength 4, AP 0 and damage 1. But the Impaler chain glaive, which is his main assault weapon, it's a melee weapon. It's strength +2, so that is strength 6, AP -2 and damage 2. Not too bad. However, if the bearer made a charge move or performed a heroic intervention in the turn, attacks with the weapon are made with strength characteristics of ×2 instead of +2. That's pretty good, but it does kind of force him to assault. So strength ×2, that's strength 8. So it's like a power fist basically, but without the armor penetration. The Mecha Tendrils, again, it's a melee weapon. Strength of the user, which will be 4. AP 0, damage 1. Each time the bearer fights, it can make 2 additional attacks with the weapon. You're getting 2 additional strength 4 attacks. That's fine. Frag grenades are, range 6-inch, grenade D6, strength 3, AP 0, damage 1, and crack grenades are 6-inch, grenade 1, strength 6, AP -1, and damage D3. Now the Hellstalker itself, it's got a number of weapons, so you can equip it with the Magma Cutter, which is a 6-inch pistol 1, strength 8, AP -4 and damage 3. I think I said before, the Mauler Fiend is equipped with 2 Magma Cutters, which it can be replaced with Lasher Tendrils. So it's the same weapon there, it's not a brand new weapon, it's existed before. The Bladed Limbs and Tail then. It's a melee weapon, strength +3, so that's strength 7, AP -2, damage D3. Pretty good. After the Lord Discordant makes his close combat attacks, you can attack with his Hellstalker. So he attacks first, then the Hellstalker. Make a number of additional attacks as shown in the damage table above using this weapon profile. So there you go. You have to use these additional attacks, these 5 attacks with the Bladed Limbs and Tail. Instead of the Magma Cutter, obviously, you can equip him with the Technovirus Injector. So this is a melee weapon again, but it's strength +4, so that's strength 8. So it's basically strength ×2. AP -4 though, damage D3. So it's the same as the Magma Cutter, but not a 6-inch range, it's the melee focus version. After the Lord Discordant makes his close combat attacks, you can attack with his Hellstalker. Make a single attack using this weapon profile in addition to the Hellstalker's Bladed Limbs and Tail. Each time a wound roll for an attack made with this weapon is successful when targeting a vehicle unit, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to any normal damage. Fantastic. And that is why, in my opinion, it's better than that Magma Cutter. Yes, the Magma Cutter has that damage of 3, but probability wise, you're going to get a damage of 2 at least anyway with a Virus Injector. And on top of that, you get 1 wound on the vehicle unit. You get that wound with the Technovirus Injector, and then the vehicle can suffer D3 mortal wounds. So you're more or less going to get 2 mortal wounds on a vehicle if you're charging it and using this Technovirus Injector. So war gear options, which I've already alluded to, you can replace his autocannon with a Bale Flamer, and you can replace the Technovirus Injector with a Magma Cutter. Abilities: Death to the False Emperor, not to be overlooked, and it means that if you get a 6+, you get the extra attack, and that's going to come in handy because he's got the 4 attacks, and then he's got the 5 attacks, he's got 9 attacks. A good chance of you getting 6s there, plus that Technovirus Injector as well. Demonic, the model has a 5+ invulnerable save, so that's pretty strong. 2+ normal, 5+ invulnerable. Infernal Regeneration, this is fantastic, you don't even need to roll a dice for this. At the start of your turn, this model regains 1 lost wound. Aura of Discord, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by vehicle units while they are within 6 inches of any enemy models with disability. In addition, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by Legion Demon Engine units while they're within 6 inches of any friendly Legion models with disability. So that's fantastic. So any vehicles hitting in close combat, you're subtracting 1 from the hit rolls, but you're also adding 1 to hit rolls for the Demon Engine. So this is really going to go well with other Demon Engines in close combat. And then finally, Spirit Thief. Each time this model destroys an enemy vehicle unit in the fight phase, this model can either repair a friendly demon engine or release a beam of energy. If you choose to repair a friendly demon engine, pick a friendly Legion demon engine other than models that can fly within 3 inches of the model. That demon engine regains D3 lost wounds. If you choose to release a beam of energy, pick an enemy vehicle within 12 inches of this model and roll a D6. On a 2+, that vehicle suffers D3 mortal wounds. Pretty decent. So you want to get him destroying vehicles in the fight phase. You want to get him in close combat. You can have that beam of energy, which can knock off those mortal wounds, or you can repair, you know, up to 3 wounds on a nearby demon engine. But it has to be within 3 inches of him. So keep him close to the Venom Crawler or Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, whatever you want to do, keep him close to those demon engines to either heal them and also add 1 to their hit rolls. His keywords is Chaos, Mark of Chaos, Heretic Astartes, Legion, Character, Vehicle Demon, Demon Engine, Warpsmith, Hellstalker and Lord Discordant. The other thing I think is missing probably is explodes. The Venom Crawler has a soul shredding explosion, which is fair enough. The Mauler Fiend explodes, so does the Forge Fiend, so does the Defiler. It's just odd that this Demon Engine, which is what they all are, doesn't explode at all. It is quite strange, but obviously he's got the best save out of them all with the 2+, you know, other than the Land Raider obviously, and he's still got that 5+ invulnerable save. I don't really want to compare him too much to the Venom Crawler, but for 2 more power points he's got a way better ballistic skill and weapon skill. His strength remains the same. He is quicker. Even when he starts taking those wounds, he's got more wounds. His toughness isn't as strong, but he gets way more attacks, better leadership, better saves. He is lacking in that long range weaponry because you've only got the autocannon to choose from. It would have been nice if they just gave him that, you know, an excruciator cannon. That would have been pretty good. You know, either an autocannon, a bale flamer, or excruciator cannon as one of the new cannons, because I'd probably pick that. You know, possible 3 shots at, you know, strength 6 maybe, AP -2, damage D3, that would have been pretty good. I like how the Venom Crawler can keep regaining wounds as well. Not only can he regain those, you can have the Lord Discordant nearby and he can repair up to 3 as well. So at the end of one of your phases, he could have gone from 5 wounds back up to 10 wounds, put it that way. So it would be nice to have you know, individual Venom Crawler kits and have a couple, 2 or 3 Venom Crawlers nearby him and just, you know, scuttle along the battlefield. That would look really, really cool. Finally, as an HQ choice, I think he's really solid, especially if you want to go down the Demon Engine route. It's so cool that we get some kind of Warpsmith on an actual Demon Engine that can complement other Demon Engines like Defilers, Forge Fiends, Mauler Fiends. You know, you can have a little army of them. It's just a shame in a way for troop choices you can't have anything that kind of reflects that as well. You can only have your bog standard Chaos Space Marines. Would have been cool if there was some kind of Techno Priest or something like that as a troop choice that you could have, or smaller scuttling Venom Crawlers maybe. Just something that you could have, kind of like a insect scuttling demon engine army, a pure one. That would be brilliant. Or some kind of Dark Mechanicum Servitor scuttling unit as well. I think there's definitely a lot of scope for it, and I'd love to see it in the future, definitely. And there ends my review. What do you guys think of this awesome looking model? Other than the size issues, definitely fulfilled my expectations. I think it's a fantastic looking model and really captures the aesthetic of all of the new Chaos Space Marines. Can't wait to see more from Games Workshop. What do you guys think? Please do put it in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Death to the False Emperor.